My name's Brian. I'm from Sigma. Today we're here at the B&H event space to talk about our water drop critique. I got Jim Koepnick, one of our wonderful Sigma ambassadors, with us to kind of go through the images. We got a ton of amazing images over the weekend from our last class. I think some of the people out here need to actually teach me instead of me teaching them. I'm a beginner to mid-level. Some of you guys are by far doing some very, very cool work. We got some great submissions. So if you have any questions, or if it's your image that comes up, please drop them in the Q&A part. We'll do our best to answer the questions. You got anything, Jim, before we get into it?
No, I agree with you that there were some great images, or are some great images. And I think going through it, the biggest compliment I can give to some of them are, I really wish I had taken that. That is such a cool idea. You guys, whoever, this picture and that picture, you did a super job on it. And,
Yeah, there's some definite ones that there's some great creativity in them. There's other people you can tell are just getting started, but that's where you get going. That's where you learn how to do this. And, overall, there's just amazing stuff. So amazing images, more than just stuff. Let me share my screen and we'll get going. We're actually going to start off with two images by Jim. They're kind of water drop, and I figured, people saw my images last time. Since we had Jim on, figured we'd get a couple of his images and maybe get a little behind the scenes on how he took the shots. I'm always amazed, how we blend the reality of the situation to what actually was there when you took the photo. So was this anywhere like specifically special, Jim, or did you set this up? Or?
It was special in my driveway during a rainstorm. And there's a contrast between this and the next image, in that this I shot with a Sony A7 or A9 Mark II. So it handles ISO really good, high ISO. So this was at 3200 wide open at f2.8 with our 105 DGDN macro.
Right.
And we had just come out with it, and I'm trying to find some cool things to shoot. And it started raining, and I looked out at the water drops that you're talking about. And I thought that was really cool. I'm going to go try this. So I went out and shot available light, which, you can't take lights out in the rain.
Right.
I got wet. The camera and lens got wet. Thankfully, our lenses are weather sealed. That art lens is.
Right.
And so this is what I got. And, I probably shot, the other thing is 500, 600 pictures, I'll bet. And there were, maybe 10 I liked, and I narrowed it down to this one. But from my take on this, and I agree with you, I'm just learning on some of this. Hopefully I keep improving, but you've got to start out somewhere, and you've got to just keep learning all the time. Yeah. So I learned to shoot a lot and edit down and look for the best ones, and then take what I learned from that and apply it for the,
Well, with that A9, that's just like, 15 seconds of shooting, right?
Just about. So, but water drops happen quickly. And the other thing is they land randomly. So your focus point, it's never going to be where you want it to be. So there's a lot of, I hate to say luck, but luck, chance, you're playing the odds on this. But the point is, when you get a good one, you really get a good one.
Yeah.
So that's what I got with this. And I love the contrast. Now, using contrast again, the other one was available light, 3200. This is, I don't want to say in my studio, it's just in my basement where my office is. And I set this up with LED lights. And this is with a Sony A7R4. So now we're going to more megapixels. And I like to do that if I'm going to get really close on something like this, so that I can always crop in and still have all that information to work with. And this was at ISO 200, I think. So in this case, where I can control the situation, be in a tripod, use a higher f-stop. This was f16. Bouncing around here. This was f16 at a 1/6 of a second. So it gives me a lot more control for what I want to do. And one thing I'll say about this, and the people that entered may have learned this already, but this is without glycerin added. You know, I saw people and how they were doing this, and to be honest with you, I didn't know what glycerin was at the time when I did this. It's like, what is it? Where do I get it? So I found out that you can get it on Amazon if you want that. And you add it to the water. There are people that give you certain formulas. You sort of got to learn on your own, but the glycerin will help that drop hold to the, in this case, I had a little branch. And you won't have to go through everything I did where you try to focus on that and then all of a sudden the drop disappears. So you got to add more water to the top and let the drop form. It'll make it a lot more controllable.
In my presentation last week, that was one of my helpful cheats. So the glycerin is very helpful. So, but I always thought this was a super cool image. I've seen it a couple different times, so I just had to kind of throw it in there, there. So now we're going to start talking about the submitted images. So we're going to kind of dig through those. There's no particular order on these. I literally put them into the presentation as they were downloaded in the list. So we got about 30 or so images. So I'm hoping to hit them all and talk about them. If you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A and we'll go from there. So this one, first one up here, I thought was really cool. The use of, it looks like they were hopefully I think maybe you use a spray bottle or something to spray it. So you got all those big heavy drops and you can see, that wonderful shot. When you get close, you can see the flowers behind it sitting in there. I think composition's great. I don't know. It's just a great image. I don't know what else. I mean, I kind of wish I had taken it. So that's the compliment I've got for you. What do you think, Jim? What are you seeing?
I agree. I like it. The one thing I might do is crop it on the left and the bottom a little bit. So that would get rid of some of that. It's nice that out of focus color sort of balances with what's in focus, but I could also see it cropping some of that out so that it draws your eye more to the water drops.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And I think this was, when I was looking through the metadata on this, not all the images had them. This was shot with a crop sensor camera too. I think like a D5100. So it goes to show you can do this type of photography. You don't have to have necessarily the latest and greatest. It helps you have the latest and greatest lens, obviously, but just joking. So here's a cool one. So what we got going on here is you'll see different drops taken from different angles. And one of my favorite ways to capture these at that horizontal level, it creates very interesting kind of shots. One of the one little detail I really love is you can tell the lens is really stopped down. You're getting that like starburst in that like little right hand, like in the lower right side of the water drop. And I just always think those are so cool. Looks like maybe like a dog jumping up. I don't know. There's certain like cloud abstract quality to it that I really like. The overall focus looks really good. I mean, it looks like it's sharp. I mean, to me, it's just a cool image. What are you seeing, Jim?
I agree. And I like the unpredictability of what you might get when you do water drops. I mean, and as we look through the rest of these pictures too, it can be so varied that it's kind of cool that you can capture different shapes like this.
Yeah, you can tell like on this, they just used maybe it's like a black backdrop and just used regular water too. So that, I mean, it was not a super fancy setup. So we'll see some setups later that were probably a little bit more complicated, but you can still get great images with just kind of basic stuff, a flash, a black drop, and just water. So here we'd come in and I don't know if this was set up or not, but it looks like they have the dew on the flower. One of my all-time favorite tips and tricks when I'm doing macro photography is just a spray bottle with some water in it. And I'll admit I'm never one to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning when the sun's just rising and the dew's still on the flowers. I'm more of a it's hot outside, let me cut a flower, set up a backdrop and get the water bottle out. So any suggestions on this one, Jim? You seeing?
The only thing, and I'm not sure how this person lit it, but be it with a flash or an LED light or something, but maybe like for the next step, the next level that you want to go to is move the light around and, you know, try a little backlit, try more from the side, and just see if that accentuates those water drops a little bit more. But it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you did a great picture here. Now, what's the next level or what's the next step?
Like-
And it might be to try that.
Yeah, that's one thing. I sometimes have my wife. She's my voice activated light stand. So I'm like, hold the flash here, hold the flash there, move the light here. So you can, you know, I hate having the like locked down. It's if you can grab another person to help you move the light around, it makes life a little bit easier. So
I hope that works better than my voice activated light stand because mine doesn't take direction.
I have two of them, and the 12-year-old one doesn't take any direction. So so this one here is very interesting. So when I'm gonna assume somebody was just kind of trying out, because the reason I say this is I have images that look exactly like this. We're just starting out, we're just learning it. We start to get just starting to capture some cool images. The one thing on this is I might take this instead of shooting up, because you're kind of probably like on your tripod shooting down on the subject. If you can bring your camera lower so that you're shooting across, because one of the parts of this is you can tell that it's in focus right at the water level, but since it has such a big drop and you're at an angle, your depth of field is so small, the water drop at the top, which looks really cool, is as out of focus. So that would be one suggestion. You know, maybe look at the way you cropped it a little bit might also help. Maybe just play around some different crops to see what you get. And then I would just play with maybe you're going in the Lightroom or something, just play around with your white balance and change the color up and see what type of color. Sometimes that can really create a dynamic image too.
No, I agree with that. And looking at the f-stop, that's at f13. You
Yeah.
know, you could have bumped it up a little. It might have helped that drop in the top with a little more f-stop.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, a great attempt. I've personally, I have some images very similar to this when I was first trying this out. It just takes practice and patience and just a little bit of luck, or a whole lot of luck. So, okay. I absolutely love this image. I don't know how it was taken. I don't know what it is or how it was exactly taken, but I think it's super cool. It looks like some type of like fabric, and maybe you just used a spray bottle to wet it down, and then something was just dropping on it, or I don't know if it was set up or not, but I just really like it. The perspective and everything looks super cool to me. What are you seeing, Jim, on this one?
I agree, and I like the fact that it's cropped really horizontal.
Yeah.
You know, you're hitting the diagonals, and you're not adding a lot of wasted space to put it in that 2x3 format. So I think that really helps it going so wide. You know, and I love the way the depth of field follows along.
Yeah,
just
everything about it.
Eye right to that burst.
Yeah, it's like a great leading line. Depth of field use. I mean, you know, depth of field being used as a leading line, but also the negative space too. Like just the kind of that. It's a nice balance of, you know, the black against the busyness of the drops. So again, one of those shots that, you know, I said I wish I could say I took it so that I could hang it up on my wall and everybody go, man, you're an amazing photographer. So this was this person, I don't know who, they definitely took it to the next level. So these are the type of images I want to get to in my water drop photography, because they're obviously doing some pretty cool stuff here. Looks like they used a more like viscous fluid, maybe I don't want, maybe like the fake milk solution. I had somebody talk about using Elmer's glue and water mixed together with a little food coloring, but you get that deep red in there, and just the reflection of the water drop. Because one of the hard things is when, at least with the way I typically do my water drops, because I don't have a dropper, is you're having a drop continuously going down. So you don't necessarily get that super smooth water to create that type of reflection. So to have the patience to wait for a drop and to be smooth and to get to reflect that great reflection on there is pretty amazing. I think they call this like a crown water drop because it looks like it should be like a crown. So you get a maybe metallurgist make you a good crown out of that. I think that'd be cool too. So
It's a beautiful image. Again, it's one that I wish I had taken or that I can learn how to take.
yeah, so definitely they might have I might have used a water dropper with this. I'm not 100% sure. To get these a little bit more complicated images, you typically have to have a setup where they're timing the drops in like a time system. I've gotten a couple crown shots like this, but never anything quite this good. So excellent job. So then we have this one here. I'm not 100% sure what they were trying to go through. I think maybe trying to get the drops of the water around the branches. I do like the interplay of light and the kind of the colors and such, but it's not, I'm not 100% sure what's going on. And I don't know if they're online. I'd love to talk to them a little bit about it. If they have any questions or you could drop them in, I could talk to them a little bit about it. But what are you seeing, Jim?
I agree. I'm not seeing water drops, but I see a really nice picture if it was cropped in just to that bowed branch and then the reflections coming down. I could see that as a vertical maybe, because I love the way the distortion and the reflection. So I think it has a lot of potential as just a nice picture.
Yeah, I think maybe I see it just maybe it cropped in a little bit more to get a little bit more detail in the branch or something. I don't know. It's definitely potential. So, okay. Now this one is I've had this happen to me too. And this has like the potential, like you take this shot and you look it on the back of your camera and you're like, I nailed it. And then you go and you pull it in and you're like, oh, my framing's just a little bit off. There's a lot of great things going on here. They obviously use some color in the bowl to capture it, but you get that nice negative space. To me, it's really just the framing of it. If the framing of it would have been more in the center of the shot, or there would have been more space at the bottom to capture those ripples a little bit better, I think it would have been spot on. So I think you're almost there. That's kind of where I'm seeing this one.
I think what I'm not sure about, or if I could ask a question, is was the red done during the shoot, or was that something done in post? But I could see this as a vertical if you crop the red out, and you might have to straighten it just a little bit, but just stick with the water drop and the blue. I think it would be stronger.
Definitely. Like I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like there might have been. It could have been the bowl had like a red tint to it, or there's a lot of different factors that can go into it. The other thing is, again, as we're getting a little bit taller, it is a little bit less in focus at the top part of it. So again, that's just controlling depth of field, and just what makes it, it's kind of like shooting macro and timing things. It's all kinds of different factors that makes these type of shots really hard. So, but great try. And again, I think Jim's right. Going vertical, I shoot a ton of stuff for like in portrait, and then I'll end up cropping it vertical. I typically do most of my shooting with like an A7R, so I always have more megapixels than I need. So and this one we could, I think again it's a great beginner attempt. You definitely got the water drop. When I was very, very first starting doing this is the type of shots I was getting. I was like, oh, this is cool, but there's a little bit more. So if I don't know what type of which lens you were using, but I don't think you maybe had quite been a macro lens to get close enough just to provide more magnification. And then the bowl you used is a little bit distracting. Maybe just like some solid color. Looks like maybe roasting pan, I'm guessing. I've cooked many a roast in my life, so it's kind of like that granite type of pan. So you can do different things, maybe line it with something like that's black, or just use a clear pan or something to create a little less distraction. I think a great attempt. Just play around with some stuff, maybe to get some more contrast, because the drop kind of fades into it also. And I'm not 100% sure what the color was. Maybe it's just a reflection on the water for something else that's around there. So just I would say keep at it. I think you're definitely on the right track. Just try some more, just try some different stuff. And you're getting there though. You're getting the concept, definitely.
I agree. And I think just cropping the ripples and the water drop coming up, I think would cut a lot of that distraction too.
Yeah.
You'll see, I'm a big one to crop. You know, as tight as I try to shoot, Instagram has showed me that, you know, when it pops up, it always crops it into square. And most of the time I go, oh, I like that even better. So
Right.
I'm a cropper.
I'm gonna put that on your business card.
Yeah, cropper.
So this one is one of the super cool ones. So I'm going to guess, I've only ever gotten one shot like this, and it was out of focus, of course, where the drops drop that seamlessly. So there could be one of two different things. I would think maybe it's a composite shot, or they're using a actual dropper, because you can control the drops coming down, so you can get them to drop on top of each other like this. But this is what happens when you start investing a little bit in equipment and you really like doing this type of thing. You can get some super cool shots. You know, being able to kind of like two things in one, like I was talking in my presentation, you're getting like the magnification of the scene behind it in the water drop itself. And then, you know, you're getting, you know, it's just kind of just a cool shot. And they probably shot a little wide, and I'm going to guess they cropped it to that. That's kind of my look and feel to this. So
No, I think it's a great shot. It's what I wish I could do. And I love the way the ripples kind of lead you into the back a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got that texture of the ripples on the lower half, and then it just blurs out in the upper half.
Yeah. Great work. Then here, similar to one of the shots we saw earlier, maybe using like a water bottle to kind of like spray down the flowers, or you got up early in the morning and got some dew on your flowers. Not 100% what we were talking about, but it's still a nice image. I think, you know, nicely focused. You have a little bit better idea on this type of stuff, Jim. What do you see?
Well, it's a little joke that I'm going to get a t-shirt that says I'll fix it in post, but not that one should rely on that. You know, you do the best you can do in camera. But I look at this and I kind of want to think if they up the contrast or the clarity a little bit, especially on the center flower where the water drops are, that it might just make those jump out at you a little bit more.
Right. Okay. Now this one took some I'm going to assume took some effort and patience, because getting those water drops on that leaf so that the leaf doesn't bend down and it shoots, that really shallowed up the field. I don't know, just super cool. I've done a lot of this type of stuff, and to be able to get those drops to sit just that way, in and of itself, that's a work of art and patience. The only thing I could see is I would maybe like to see it maybe cropped in. Just, I don't even know if it would look better or not, but I would like to see what it would look like cropped in a little bit, just so I could see what was in the water drops, maybe just a little bit more, and maybe focus on those drops just a little bit more. But I'm not even saying that that's the right thing. I almost have to see it to see if I would like it better that way.
I'd like to see, if I were to do this, or you know, if we could redo the picture, one of the bigger water drops having the focus rather than
The smaller
the
one up
smaller
front.
one in the foreground, just because I think it would catch my eye better. Or you know, just play with focus on all the different water drops and see which one gives you a better feel.
Yeah. I mean,
But I think it's a great shot, and I love the way the colors work.
yeah, very creative. You know, though your depth of field on these is so razor thin too, so you can easily just move a little bit of your lens and get a different drop in focus. So.
This is cool.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out where this logo's from. I've been racking my brain all day, so I'm not 100% if you took this photo and you're on, you have to know where the logo's from. It's not been bothering me, but I've been trying to figure it all day. I want to say it's a beer can, but maybe I'm wrong.
It might be because it looks like a soda straw that it's attached to.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, I didn't catch that part. So just a great job. I mean, again, getting those drops to sit ever so slightly from the branch, and then getting that magnification and the sharpness in those drops is just very, very well done. I don't know. It looks great to me. I mean, what do you think, Jim? I mean, I think you like it.
I just love the way, I mean, and they seem really sharp, and
yeah. And
you know,
and the one thing that the water drops do like this, and you know, I've made this mistake, is everything's upside down. So you thought to turn it in the background, that it's turn it upside down so it's right side up when you're varying it through the water drop, and you know, just all around cool. So. And then this looked like I had falling water drops or onto the flower. It was a little abstract for me, so I wasn't able to look us on a really big screen. So what are you seeing on this one, Jim?
I like the pattern, and the you know, it almost looks like the plants are underwater or something, and these are bubbles coming up, but or maybe they're water drops too.
Yeah.
I love the pattern and you know, the image as a whole. But I'm not exactly sure what we're seeing.
Right. And you know, sometimes it's that abstraction is kind of cool. I like to sit here and just kind of look at it, try to figure it out too. So, but nicely done. So. And this is somebody that's starting to get it. So you're getting like before on like one of that earlier image with the really bright red and crown. This is the type of crown shots I typically get, because I have a continuous drop, so you're getting all those waves in the water. You don't get that like super clean look. But I love that you went you know, right at eye level, and everything's really nice and sharp. You know, the purple background works great. You're getting some nice contrast. Just a good, cool shot. You know, a few more, you know, maybe take a couple of these shots taking the same thing, maybe you composite it together as another drop, maybe above that is falling down. You can do a little bit of editing to create some super cool stuff. Later on, we have one of the coolest composites of this type of stuff I've ever seen. I'm assuming it's a composite, because if they did it all in one shot, they're a genius. So.
No, I love this shot, and you know, it's just a good one.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the shallow depth of field. It just kind of just focuses your eye right in on the kind of cool abstraction of it. So good job. And then, you know, kind of a cool, you know, duck shot. You know, we got some water drops along the edge and stuff. Maybe it wasn't 100% exactly what we were looking for in the assignment, but to be honest with you, it's pretty impressive that you got all the detail in the head and not everything's blown out, because shooting ducks is actually super hard. I don't know if you've done that, Jim, but like especially mallards like this, that getting the color and the head to be actually in, you know, not exposed right, but the rest of your subject not blown out, can be very difficult. So,
and having the mouth open so that,
yeah,
you know, it's doing something. Looking at the metadata, it was at ISO 400, the shutter speed at 1/1250. I'm almost thinking if I were going to do this, I'd up the shutter speed even higher, or you could up the ISO, which is then going to up the shutter speed and is then going to freeze those water droplets even more. which
Yeah.
might make it a little interesting. That's pretty cool.
That's super cool. I've never been able to catch one like this. I'm gonna guess they're using some type of something more than just straight water, something that's a little bit more viscous. Maybe some glycerin in the water. There's different types of solutions you can create just to get a thicker liquid, so that you can get those kind of sheeting effects. I'm gonna guess they use a water dropper on this, but I could be wrong. But typically with just straight water, you're not going to get that cascade. So very cool.
You know, what I like about this is, I mentioned it before, is that you never know what you're going to get. And, you know, getting something like this with that, it almost looks like a mushroom, but with that cap on top of it. Yeah, I think that's the fun of doing water drops, is seeing what you're going to end up with.
Yeah, maybe the only thing I could maybe suggest is maybe just play around with, you know, the color on it and stuff. Maybe, you know, it looks good here, but it'd be mighty interesting to see, you know, just playing around with some of the different, since it's an abstract type of image, you can always, you know, take the colors in it and just really get fun and creative with them too. So you kind of maybe create a little bit more interest and contrast, but it still looks awesome the way it is. So. And then this is, again, somebody's, you know, my first couple attempts to do water drops, I had many a shot like this. You can tell somebody's just starting. You just caught that ball and light, and you know, it looks super cool. You're getting those great ripples. Maybe here again is when you're shooting down like that, you know, capturing that ball, that little water drop more on a level plane and having some type of cool background in the back, I think would look awesome too, just as a suggestion, something to try. But you're definitely getting there. Maybe add some color to the scene, maybe some water, you know, dye, food coloring in the water, or maybe use a gel in your flash or something like that, just to give it a little bit more pop for color. But, you know, definitely a great first attempt. It's kind of like a black hole. You know, you got to, you know, maybe if you flip it, you know, it's like a planet getting sucked into a black hole or something. At least what I imagine a black hole looks like.
I like it. I love the graphic look. You know, in the circles, it almost looks like a roulette table where that, you know, the one ball is just spinning around there. That it's not up in the air, but it's actually just sitting on the ripples.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this. I mean, I saw it as a black hole, and Jim sees it as a roulette table. When are we going to Vegas, Jim?
WPPI.
Great attempt. Keep up the good work. And here is, there's two. I have two favorite images. There's been a lot of great work, but this is pretty stunning. I'm going to assume this has been composited together. If they got this all in one shot, then they're a mad genius. But I'm 99% sure. But any one of those water drops that they've caught is amazing. But that they have so many of them and have them the way they put it together and composited it, it's just simply stunning. So
Brian, I do this all the time. It's just that you need a Sigma lens.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. I mean, obviously the 105 macro is all you need, and it'll solve all of your problems, right? I don't have anything else to say, but, you know, kudos, and I need to find you so I can take some lessons. So I don't know what else to say. It's just an amazing shot.
I looked at the metadata and there isn't any, so I'm guessing it's a composite.
Yeah.
That and based on the perfection of the thing, but
yeah,
really an interesting piece of art.
Yeah.
You know, the color, the composition, everything.
I mean, if I could just get one of those water drops, I'd be like, man, I made it. I did it. But, you know, they have them all and set in certain ways and everything. Just an amazing job. So. And then this one, I think the concept is awesome, but the subject we're shooting against in the back kind of just gets a little bit lost into it. I think we're definitely on the right track though. I just having a little trouble. I guess it's a tree behind there. I'm also looking pretty small screen. So.
And I think the whatever the subject in the background has to be closer to the water drop
Yeah,
so that you can define it.
yeah. But I definitely think you're on the right track. So just keep up the work. Think you can definitely you're definitely on the way to getting something good. I always love doing this. So I have this awesome image of that my father-in-law shot. One of the reasons I got into photography was him of a strawberry dropping into a glass and getting that big splash. I think this is super cool. I just want to know what was dropped in there. That's the only thing. I want to see what the item was when we're dropping. So I think the water drop part of it all is awesome. The splash, the color, all that stuff. So maybe that would be my only maybe suggestion is, if it was a lime or some type of, assuming some type of beverage that would get some type of fruit on it or something. So,
I like the reflections and shadows of the glass on each side. It just, balances out a little bit, so it's not so sterile.
Yep. I'm impressed you got it all in focus. So that's in and of itself an accomplishment. And we got this one. I'm going to assume it was some type of long exposure. I wasn't quite sure what they were going for. I was hoping maybe they would be on chat so we could talk to them about it. But looks like a long exposure. It reminds me of like snow, like doing a long exposure with like snow or something. I don't know.
Could be rain. There's no metadata on this one, so.
Yeah, I did look at that earlier. I didn't see it. So if you come up, if you're in the critique chat, just drop a line. We can always go back to it and talk about it too. And this is super awesome. And I'm 90% sure you had to use like a water drop system for this, for the droppers. You're telling how the drops go down and stuff, but that's just amazing. Just the softness of the color. I mean, again, just an amazing, you have to get a little bit lucky, but to create those looks is just super cool. So
yeah, I love this one.
Yeah. We'll move on to the next one. And I like what they did in post on this one, just kind of to create that kind of yin and yang balance on this. I'm assuming it's done in post. I'm not 100% sure how you would do this in not post. So I don't think we had any metadata. So, but I like the composition, the kind of balance it has. Just super cool.
I agree.
Yeah. Only thing that's maybe slightly distracting to me is the white vignette on the edges, but beyond that, I mean, that's just something kind of minor, and that's everybody has their own kind of feel for that, but I think it's super cool. So again, this one we got 3 drops dropping, so we're probably using like an eye drop, or maybe like just like an eyedropper to drop the drops. They typically, when I use kind of like the Ziploc bag method, you don't get enough drops dropping that fast enough to catch it. But super cool image. You get it hitting the water and creating that bubble. I like the reflections in the drops and everything. Just some very cool colors going on. So I think a good job.
I think the colors really make it interesting.
Yeah,
if it was just even a single color, it would be a great picture. But I think the rainbow of colors back there.
Yeah, be interesting to see how if that was like I used wrapping paper at times because they're so colorful and you get some cool patterns, but what they exactly use to create that look and feel. Another super cool one. I kind of love that eye level perspective. You're getting a little bit up, but you're getting that drop and that crown. Kind of looks like a mushroom. The reflection in the water. Again, that's really hard to do and get good, is that reflection of the drop back into the water. So just a great job. A lot of these are just so inspiring to make me, I had to tear down my setup last week because the wife wanted to have dinner at the table. So I'll have to dig it out when I get back into town. So
No, this one's cool. I think I'm gonna have to start playing once our session is over. I think
yeah,
time to play with some of this.
yeah. And again, this is, I love this because they used they probably used like almost, I call it like a milk. I used actual milk in mine, but you can use like Elmer's glue and water to try to create a solution that won't smell after a while. But I love that kind of like the opacity that it provides into the, looks like maybe just water to kind of create those swirls in there. It just kind of gives it a super cool look. But I love this one.
I like the smoky little look of
Yeah.
under the circle and the opacity of the drop coming down. There's just such cool contrast.
It's, and James is, I think we found his image, but you can, the key to this is you're going to take a lot of bad shots, and as you go along, and it just takes one good one to make you want to take, another 500 bad ones.
Good way to put it.
Yeah. And the ripples on this one are great. Just that eye level. I just love everything about this. It looks like it's a kind of plate or something. I don't know. But it's obviously not. But I don't know. Just the black and white contrast of it, the highlights of it. Just an excellent job.
Yeah, could be the destruction of Saturn.
Oh, there you go. I always think of planets when I think of these.
Yeah.
I have a water drop I put in my presentation. It looks like when you drop, in today's modern day PowerPoint, when you drop an image into PowerPoint, it gives you a suggestion of what you should title it. And like 3 of my images were like, planet, planet doing this. I'm like, okay, maybe that's why I think everything's a planet how it is. But
I like the little secondary splashes on this too. The water drops are one thing, but the little splashes coming off the
I think destruction of Saturn is a Saturn going nova. I don't know. Maybe that should be the title. I like that too. And here we looks like somebody was trying to do some water drops off the fruit. The hard part here is I think the drops, the color of the fruit itself is bleeding into the fruit, so you're not getting like any look and feel from the drops. Overall, the composition and everything looks good. It's well taken photo, but I think if you're going specific for that kind of like water drop look, we're not seeing anything in the drops itself. So that depends on exactly what you're trying to go for on this one, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if they were lighting this, bringing the light on the fruit in the back down a little bit,
yeah, that probably
would make the drops stand out more.
Yeah.
Love
this is my second favorite image. The first one was the big composite. That was amazing. But I'm not sure how you get water drops to sit in that delicate of a flower, but then to have drops within drops. This is next level cool in my opinion. So a lot of different things going on that it's just a great shot. Now I don't even know what plant that is, or I'm gonna have to go find one and try something similar now. But definitely inspired me. It's just a beautiful image.
No, I totally agree. I'm not sure what the background's made out of.
I don't really care. But
I mean, you're right. It's something you just want to look at, and you see different things in it, and I just think it's just total beauty.
Yeah, I think it's just a beautiful shot. But I marvel at when I see stuff like this, I marvel at the patience and time and effort to actually make it happen too. So that adds a little bit more enjoyment to me, because I know that's not easy. So. And this makes me want to get a Cosmo tonight. But, no, it's a great splash shot. Like the one before, I think it's great. I always just like in these type of shots, I always want to see what's actually being dropped in it. So maybe that's like a composite where you grab the fruit before it hits or something. but still a super cool shot. I always just want to see what's causing that biggest splash when you're kind of going into a cup, but that's kind of minor, but the rest of it's really cool. So.
No, I agree. And I'm being kind of picky here as I look at it, because this could have been, the 10th shot that they did, but this is one I'd love to see without the water splatters in the background and whatever is the drink.
Oh yeah.
That's down on the bottom of it. This is one I would prefer to see it really clean.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about if fruit or something is dropping into a cup like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the splash itself and the whole composition, I really love.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it might be too hard to do a little fix and post, it won't be too hard to mask that out and make it stand out a little bit more. Good job, James. We finally found his shot, so. And this one's, again, you're using a more viscous fluid with some type of opacity to it. I just love these type of things. Definitely looks like a mushroom. I think of the Smurfs with this shot. I don't know why. Like Papa Smurf should be coming out of his house or something. Maybe I'm dating myself.
Need a set of eyes on the top of that.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. It could be something from Tolkien. It could be like a treant, but a mushroom treant. The only thing I'm not actually, I love the water drop and the blue. I'm not 100% loving the yellow in the back. I think that's the only thing, maybe a different background color, but overall it's a great shot. And that's just kind of me being super nitpicky. So
I like the simplicity of it. I mean, there's a complexity to being able to freeze it like that, but there's also just a simplicity to the whole shot itself.
Yeah. As I look at it a little bit more too, I see the reflection. I don't know, it might not have been possible the way the shot was taken, but if that would have been reflected back in the water in front of it and I got that all in one, that would have been super cool too. But I know that doesn't always work out the way you want it to. So let's see. I love this one. So earlier we had a shot with kind of like a abstract pattern in the bottom, and it was just slightly distracting. Whereas this pattern just adds a lot to the image. I think that kind of tie-dye paisley look with the water rippling through it just kind of creates a great, I don't know, tie-dye pattern. I'm sure my daughter would love it. She's all into tie-dye right now. So
as a novice to water drop photography like this, so is that like wrapping paper, where you had mentioned, is that like under the water and so it's just reflecting the light, or you're just
so typically something like that would be under the water, or say you're using like a glass bowl and it's like a clear glass, you would just set it on top of that so you're getting that reflection through it. There's several different ways to do it. Like on some of my shots that I shoot it like straight at like water level, like horizontal, I'll put a box with some type of paper in the back. So when you're shooting, you get a nice pattern, but when you're shooting through the drops, you get the pattern in the drops, which you're kind of seeing here also. Okay. Like if you look at the upper drops, you're getting that kind of like fisheye look in the drop also. So
gotcha.
And again, an excellent shot. I want to go get a glass of milk, and getting those little drops off the edge of the crown caught, and that's just an amazingly good shot. So yeah, the simplicity of it, just the black and white. So
I totally agree. The black and white is, especially after seeing some really colorful ones, there's just a simple beauty to it.
Yeah. It's sometimes harder to do the simple stuff. So, there's no distraction. There's nothing that can distract your eye from it. So you have to be pretty technically solid to do it. So great job. And that's it, guys. Those are all our images. I want to thank everybody that submitted. We saw some amazing shots. Everybody, it always takes a little bit more guts, in my opinion, to throw your pictures out there for somebody to poke holes at. and get feedback on, but that's how you become a better photographer. I definitely got some ideas from my own to use and got some inspiration here. Next time I see you, Jim, I'll bring my water drop stuff and we can play around.
That sounds good. And I'm going to get out my 105 DGDN, and I've got a Sony A7R III that I have on loan. So I'm going to play a little bit this week. In fact, it's been raining all week, so I'm going to give it a try and see what I come up with.
Yeah, I pulled out our 70 macro, not for the shots I did last time on just my tradition, just on a Canon 5D3, and I got some great results there too. A lot of it's just having a really good lens. You can control a lot of your variables with this, with like a flash. So having a good lens is one of the keys. But if you're bringing your own light and you're in a controlled environment, you can do a lot with just the equipment you have. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and looking at our presentation. I think that's about it for us.
Thanks for having me, Brian, and thanks B&H.